Ayan, good evening sa lahat ng Summoners. You're watching the Garena Premier League 2014 Summer Season. And I'm Sphere.
I'm Jay.
So before anything else, let's look at for our schedules muna for tonight's matches.
Alright, so a while ago at 6 PM we had the Maki Esports going against head-to-head with Saigon Fantastic 5. Maki Esports pulled out a win over the Saigon Fantastic 5 and picking up their first or second win of the season.
Napakaganda ng laban yung kanina, no?
Yes, actually,
nakita ko yung,
SF5 was leading really strong at the early game with about 10k gold lead, and Maki Esports pulled out some really good team fights, allowing them to pick up the victory.
Not to mention, yung Lulu in the mid lane is very effective against Twisted Fate dito. Twisted Fate had a very hard time to win against his laning phase dito against Lulu. At kung mapapansin mo yung kanyang score, 40-17, talagang nag-rely siya ng sobra sa kanyang ganging capabilities kung saan throughout the laning phase dito sa top lane, sa bottom lane, makikita mo siya lagi. So, ayun ang nangyari doon. Lagi niyang iniwanan in the mid lane si Lulu, and then he had the advantage of killing any champion in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that's right. Alright, so coming up right now is IPT versus the Bangkok Titans. It's going to be a very exciting match as our very own IPT will go head-to-head with Bangkok Titans. Last season,
the first game na magkakasalubong silang dalawa dito.
Yes, last season both of them were at the bottom of the group, and this will be another, basically this will determine who will be on top this season. Hopefully both teams can start winning some games and pick up some steam as the season's going into the second week. Later on, of course, we also have another game with the next game actually at 8 o'clock will be HQ Fighters versus the Saigon Jokers, and our last match for tonight will be War Gods against Neolution Full Lewis.
So far, looking at the matches for tonight, napakaganda ng ating mga laban ngayon. For Team of Imperium Pro Team versus Team ng Bangkok Titans, this is very interesting. This is the first time na magkakasalubong sila ngayon sa ating season. With the roster changes na nangyari, for IPT, they have Shadow, they have IPT Kaigo as well. For Team of Bangkok Titans, we have here 007X, yung napanood natin before na medyo parang nakakaiba yung galaw niya being a jungler champion dito. Sobrang unusual nung kanyang strategy, yung kanyang pag-clear ng jungle dito. And also yung kanyang pag-gank sa laning phase. For the mid lane, we have G4, we have Lloyd for their AD carry, and Warlock for their support. So far, ngayon, napapansin ko sa team ng BKT, we have two member for their roster. We have G4 and si Lloyd dito. Warlock, 007X as well. So, 3 member of team of BKT ay bago sa kanila. So, we have Sek, we have Warlock na nagtagal na dito since last season pa. So far, with this kind of lineup dito, alam mo na kapag nagkakaroon ng roster changes, kailangan mo ng adjustments, kailangan mo baguhin yung playstyle mo, kailangan mo, siyempre mag-change role ka eh. So, this time, IPT first team ng BKT, so we'll see what might happen ngayong araw na ito. Hopefully, IPT could hook their first win of this season. So far, ito na mga kaibigan, game muna tayo ngayon, laban sa pagitan ng team BKT at team ng IPT.
Alright, so on the blue side we'll have IPT, and on the red side we have the Bangkok Titans. Looking at the lineup, of course, we have here on the top lane Kaigo in the jungle, IPT Light for the mid lane, and of course our bot lane will be IPT Fear and IPT Shadow. While for Bangkok Titans, we have BKT Sek in the top lane, BKT 007X in the jungle, BKT G4 as their mid laner, and Lloyd and Warlock will be at the bottom lane.
Yes. These bans mga kaibigan, for team ng IPT, they banned out Pantheon and Prom. So first two bans mga kaibigan, we all know kung gaano effective talaga si Brom in the bottom lane. Kapag nagkaroon ng early invade with the Brom against your opponent dito, for sure, mahirapan kayong manalo. Kasi every time nagagamitin nyo yung kanyang passive skill, every time na umatake siya sa champion, any champion, that good proc yung kanyang passive skill, they can surely win the team fight dito.
Yeah, Brom is really good at snowballing team fights, especially with the multiple stun effects he can give to his team. If he's left unchecked, he can be very dangerous support player or support champion in the lineup of the opponent. Now, right now, we see here the last ban of IPT is the Twitch. BKT is thinking about their last ban right now, and we'll have to see what the last ban will BKT decide. I think it might be
Twisted Fate
for IPT. Surprising.
So looking at the bans of Team BKT dito, they banned out Evelyn, they banned out Kassadin, they banned out Twisted Fate. They banned 3 champions that can surely shut down the gacking potential of Team BKT dito. Since they banned out a champion like Twisted Fate, tingin ko ang gagawin lineup ngayon natin ng BKT ay more on aggressive playstyle. Kung saan sa tingin mo, na they have champion that could dive in against their opponent, like si Pantheon, champion like si sino po yung mga usually mga champion na pang dive in dito, si Leona, na alam natin na kapag pag may Twisted Fate sa kalaban niyo at may Leona kayo, kapag ginamit mo yung Zenith Blade mo, gagamitin lang ng Twisted Fate yung kanyang Destiny and respawn in the bottom lane. So instead of you gaining the advantage in the bottom lane, magkakaroon kayo ng disadvantage dito kasi matatalo kayo eh. Instead of a 2v2 matchup, magkakaroon ng 3v2. So far for this kind of bans for team of BKT, since everything na sa champion na alam natin na talagang sobrang hirap counterin ngayon since nagbago nga yung ating wards, wala ng Oracle, though meron tayong Vision Ward dito. Pagdating sa bans ng team ng BKT dito, more on sa possible na mag-shutdown ng team nila, yung possible na maging lineup dito ng team ng IPT. But looking at the picks mga kaibigan, for team IPT, they got Kale for the first pick sa kanilang lineup dito, and I think ito yung ginawa nila against I forgot, sa Pacific yata yung tournament somewhere, sa tournament before, ginamit niya si Kale, itong si Hero, against team naman nila Eagles, and sobrang na-impress ako doon with that playstyle na meron siya dito. And take to, hindi siya kumuha ng Runan's Hurricane, more nag-focus siya sa kanyang, after niya kumuha ng kanyang Nashor's Tooth, nag-focus siya sa kanyang AP items dito, nag-getting Lich Bane and getting the Rabadons.
Alright, so of course BKT already locking in Lulu and Elise. Of course, Lulu will be their most likely their mid laner and Elise their jungler. IPT responding with a nice pickup on the Jax and Thresh now. Jax, of course, will most likely be in the top lane, so this more or less sets the tone that Kale will be in the mid lane, if not the jungle, but I doubt he'll be in the jungle in this game. Of course, Kale isn't really a bad matchup, of course, against Lulu. Just has to be careful with those glitter lances.
Sobrang hirap niya. Actually, a champion, melee champion against Lulu is most likely parang suicide to eh, kasi with the poke coming from Lulu dito, she can be very effective. At lalo kung nakita yung kanyang potential being an AP carry dito, mula nung lumabas yung nauso yung item sa kanya na pagkuha rin ng Lich Bane. After getting the Athens and Holy Grail, mayroong kumukuha ng item sa kanya na Lich Bane, then getting the Rabadons. So lumalaki yung damage niya, yung scaling AP damage niya dito, and syempre yung bonus damage once na gumamit siya ng isang skill.
Alright, so BKT locking in their bottom lane now. They picked up Morgana and Lucian. IPT Fear deciding on what AD carry he'd like to use. He does love to use the Draven, so it wouldn't be surprising if he does pick it up. I have a feeling he may switch it out. But since no, he decides to go with the Draven this game, so it'll be really nice to see him on that Draven once again. IPT Shadow still thinking what their last champion will be. And yes, it looks like Kale will probably be in the top lane while we'll have Nidalee in the mid lane.
With this kind of lineup for team of IPT, they're most likely going for a body system. At nakita natin ito before, na laban nila between Team Manila Eagles at team ng IPT dito. And kung di ako nagkakamali, they have Kale in the top lane. And before that, we have Twitch in the bottom lane dito. And it was Fear who is using Twitch. Ang ginagawa niya, he's soloing the bottom lane against the solo laner of team ng Manila Eagles. So ngayon, against team ng BKT, who knows what might happen dito? Ano kaya possible na magiging possible na magiging strategy ng Team IPT to go against team ng BKT? But looking at the lineup of Team BKT, they have Lulu, they have Elise, they have Morgana, they have Lucian, at kung sino pa magiging possible na AP mid carry nila. Looking at this kind of lineup, most likely going to focus sa pagiging aggressive playstyle. Ito yung kanilang po composition dito. They have LeBlanc for the AP carry for team of BKT, and this is going to be very interesting. Solo top Lulu.
Alright, so the game will begin in a short break. We have a 3-minute delay, of course, to prevent any type of cheating, of course. The lineups have been locked in here, and yes, we can see here that IPT are still switching roles. Looks like I was wrong about my prediction a while ago. Looks like Jax will be in the top lane. Kale will be the jungler. We've actually seen Kaigo use the Kale in jungle quite a while back, and he did a pretty good job on it, so I wouldn't be surprised that he'll have no problem using the Kale in the jungle once again.
Actually, a Kale in the jungle, this is hindi talaga siya unusual, kasi usually nakikita natin ito sa even in the LCS. Nakikita natin na ginagawang junglers si Kale dito, and when it comes to gacking potential, medyo meron siyang slight advantage against his point, kasi meron siyang movement speed bonus, and meron din siyang reckoning or yung kanyang slow dito that could give them an advantage of killing a champion or securing a kill during his ganks. But ang pinakamahirap for Kale dito ay hanggat hindi siya nagkakaroon ng enough item for his champion, I don't think she can be very effective during the skirmishes in the early part of the game. You have to make sure na meron siyang item dito like getting yung, I think, kapag mid laner kasi ako or top laner na ginagamit ko si Kale, ang ginagawa ko sa kanya, kumukuha ako ng 2 Doran's Blade. If hindi ako makakakuha kagad ng next item sa unang pag-recall ko. And at least yun, meron na akong around 50 AP sa early part of the game. Pero ang mahirap dito for Kaiku, syempre kapag jungler ka, lalagay mo talagang item dito yung machete. So ngayon, wala siyang enough bonus damage, wala siyang bonus AP for his champion to syempre, para mag-dominate sa ganking phase. Nakadepende pa to sa kanyang rules and masteries.
That's right. So, alright, just to let you guys know, we're using patch 4.9 on the tournament for the GPL at the moment. Patch of, actually, they've already released a patch note for 4.10, but we will be seeing that probably for at least another week before it's our own live servers.
So, possible this week or next week. We never know pa ngayon. Wala pang announcement.
That's right. Alright, so the game's about to head in the way. We see a lot of burst damage coming from BKT's side, of course. Both Lucian and the Blanket easily burst down champions. Morgana, of course, and Elise will probably be the biggest setters, including Sek will probably provide a lot of utility in the team fight.
And kaya na sinabi ko kanina, sobrang hirap ang pigilan din si Lulu. Lalo-lalo na pagdating sa mid game hanggang sa late game dito, yung kanyang wild growth that would give enough advantage during the team fight dito. Kapag pumasok si Liz, kapag pumasok si LeBlanc, gamitin niya ng kanyang wild growth, not only mananakap yung kanilang kalaban, but could give enough health also para mabuhay ulit and shield survive the team fight ang mangyayari dito.
Yeah, and IPT here will have a really hard time against Lulu if they go for a standard laning phase. It's gonna be very troublesome, especially Lulu deals a lot of damage even at the early levels. Just through her passive alone can really give her a huge advantage in the top lane, especially since Jax is a melee champion. Now, my guess is if ever IPT wants to play this game right, like you said, they'll probably have a buddy system or a 4-1-0 lane idea. Would be ideal for IPT in this matchup.
For IPT, there's a high pass, they could gain the advantage ito kung gano'n ang gagawin nila. But looking at the lineup of Team BKT, medyo malabo for them kasi yes, usually ang nakikita natin ng mga body system dito, Jax, Pantheon, combo, but Lulu and Elise, well, possible, but very risky. Sobrang malaki yung chance na mag-fade sila dito. Knowing the, but in the playstyle of team ng BKT against team ng IPT, we never know what might happen dito. They are both, so far, I think, dalawang team na ito, parehong walang panalo pa.
That's right.
So, wala pa silang score din sa ating GPL this season.
That's what I'm saying, that most likely this will be the decider match to see who will take the early lead in the season as the game begins. Alright, so we just have to wait for the game to load before the game will start. Of course, there will be that mandatory pause where they will be allowed to adjust their settings just before the game starts, making sure that all players are ready and are loaded into the game.
So sa lahat ng mga nakaka-tune in pa lang, you're watching the Garena Premier League 2014 Summer Season. Laban sa pagitan ng Team IPT versus Team ng BKT. And take to, this is the first game na maglalaban silang dalawa. So hindi pa natin alam kung ano yung mga possible na maging strategies nila, or I mean yung possible na maging matchup dito. Since, well, knowing BKT, wala pa sila panalo sa ating season, same with the IPT and BKT dito. But looking at the lineup, it comes in terms of crowd control, BKT have the advantage dito. They have the binds from Morgana, they have the Sigil of Silence na unfortunately magiging Sigil of Malice na lamang pagdating ng ating 4.10 patch dito. The Cocoon coming from Elise as well. We have the Ethereal Chain, we have the skills from Lulu coming from Lulu dito. We have the Whimsy that could turn a champion to a ship or kung ano man maging transformation dito from Lulu. So for team of IPT, they're most likely going for protect driven lineup dito. They have the protect the AD carry lineup. Shadow for Thresh, we have the Dark Passage, we have the Flay, we have the Death Sentence, we have syempre in the box niya, we have syempre intervention coming from Kill and the heal from Nidalee. Jax from the backline that could initiate dito using his stuns. So ito magiging advantage nila for the team. They have to protect Fear very well.
That's right. Alright, so the game is ready. We're ready into Summer Shift. We're just waiting for the pause to end before the game starts, of course. And I'm really excited with all the new changes coming in, including the new map change that is due to server sometime probably this year if they're able to successfully port it into our game.
Actually sa PBE yata meron siyang
yeah, they've already
ongoing
started
na siya
testing
ngayon,
it and it really looks really good. I've seen.
Sobrang ganda. At
Yeah.
kanina may nakita ko sa stream. Sobrang nakakatuwa siyang tignan and yung mga minions dito sa ating jungle.
Alright, so
Seriously.
game on na tayo. As we can see, we're looking at the IPT right now on the blue side. Draven will be headed to the bottom by himself, probably placing some protective wards in their jungle, while BKT looks like will be doing a similar movement here. As you can see here, Lulu and Morgana are separating from the rest of the group. This might be a standard protection, defensive stance from like similar to Season 3 here. As you can see, everybody just protecting their jungle. Looks like no early invade here. We'll have to see if there will be a late invade coming from IPT.
Possible na hindi magkaroon ng body system ang both teams dito, though walang late swap na magaganap. We are looking at BKT and Team IPT dito. We have Lucian and Morgana in the bottom lane. Same with Thresh and Draven. So in terms of in the early part of the game, I think BKT have the advantage here against Draven and Shadow, but take note kapag tumagal ng sobra, like getting enough item for Draven, or at least kapag umabot siya ng level 3, he can surely win an exchange against BKT Lloyd or to si Lucian. Though meron siyang double attack for BKT Lloyd or to si Lucian, ang maganda kay Fear dito yung kanyang, kapag lagi niya nasalo yung kanyang axe, can surely dish out so much damage in the early part of the game.
Very true. Alright, so looks like it will be a standard start, except Elise will opt to do her red buff first, while Kayle will do her standard blue buff first. Jax, of course, will be assisting Kaigu here in the jungle before, and just the same, we'll see BKT Sec on Lulu helping Elise in the red buff. Alright, so IPT Light and G4. G4 throwing out the first skill there onto G4, taking about a nice chunk of damage or HP there from Light. Light, of course, has to be careful not to get whittled down by LeBlanc's early harassment here, and so far it's been pretty passive here. Shadow trying to provide some damage here, and Warlock trying to slow down Shadow's harassment here. Lloyd,
here comes
of course,
the exchange in the bottom lane. As you can see, every time na sinasara niya yung kanyang axe niya in one hit. And sa nakikita natin palitan dito between the two AD carries in the bottom lane, nakikita mo na sa isang hampas ni Draven or isang axe ni Draven is katumbas na isang first kill ni Lucian and yung kanyang double hit. Ganun kalaki yung damage to. But here comes the damage out of mga kaibigan from BKT Lloyd dito. I think mapipilitan siyang gamitin ang kanyang heal if ever na bigyan pa siya ng enough damage in the bottom lane. So they can't be very aggressive in the bottom lane since pare-pareho silang level 1. And eto ang maganda sa laning phase. Kung sino mo na mag level 2, sila yung magiging dapat aggressive dito kasi they have the advantage. Dalawa na yung skill ng bawat member dito, but one skill pa lamang inyong kalaban. So looking at the mid lane, I think mahihirapan si Light siyempre sa una before getting the level 6 skills dito or yung kanyang Cougar form.
Yeah, so far BKT is winning all the lanes in terms of harassment here. Here they all have a larger chunk of HP bars on the right side, while IPT is struggling to stay at par with it. BKT Sec also giving Hero a nice shove here onto the tower here, and IPT Fear focusing more on his minions right now before going aggressive onto BKT Lloyd and Warlock.
So up until now, pantay-pantay pa rin ang ating goal difference dito. So since gaga pa, 4-minute mark pa lang, hindi pa natin nakikita ganun yung difference, and wala pang gank na nanggagaling from our junglers. Doon nakuha na nila ang kanilang red and blue buff. Going for the standard lane phase. Walang gumawa sa kanila ng body system between IPT and here comes the gank mga kaibigan from Kayle dito, trying to kill G for a flash out from Kaigu. Here comes the rappel from 007X. Wow! Hindi umabot ang kanyang Q to kill Kayle or Kaigu in the mid lane. Very unfortunate for him, though both of them burnt their flashes in the mid lane. So as you can see, Si Light lang din nag-burn ng kanyang flash dito. So somehow, he has the advantage of killing G4 the mid lane for the next few seconds. Here comes the sentence, but Fear can't initiate in the bottom lane since he's taking a lot of damage from BKT Lloyd.
That's right. Alright, so IPT Hero again in the top lane. Was able to do some nice trade previously on the BKT Sec here, as you can see here. Getting a little bit aggressive onto Sec. Sec, of course, running a little bit low on mana here. Using his final pot there against Jax here. Jax, of course, with the Doran shield here. And is sustaining his HP pretty well as well. Of course, a large minion wave is pushing against him on the tower. So this will give Heart Hero another difficult time to last hit those minions under the turret, with Sec free hitting him through his ranged attacks. Alright, so Hero behind in CS by about 10 at the moment. 007X on the lead is joining Sec here in the top lane, trying to attempt.
So they're trying to push their first turret as soon as possible at top lane dito. And as you can see, IPT Hero can't do anything since almost half of his HP are gone na. And going against Elise dito, he can surely burst Jax down. And here comes the open, mga kaibigan. But 007X have to disengage in the top lane.
And that was very risky what Hero did there. Luckily, he did survive that burst damage coming from Elite there.
Jumping for a CS.
Yeah, so actually, props to 007 predicting that on the spot there and catching Jax out of position there. Right now, Warlock placing down a ward in the bush here in the bottom lane, trying to get some vision if any jungler would be in that area, but apparently the jungler is nowhere to be found, so they are pretty safe there in the bottom lane. IPT Fear does have his access both spinning at the moment, so basically every throw he does will give bonus damage here. Perfect catch from IPT Fear so far all the time here, as you can see here. Really is a master of Draven so far. Let's see if they can transition into any kills at the game progresses.
So 7-minute mark, almost 7-minute mark, wala pang nakakuha ng Dragon for Team BKT and IPT as well. But looking at this kind of strategy, they are most likely going for the mid game. Actually, both teams walang initiation na nagaganap dito. Though Team IPT is trying to catch a champion in the bottom lane, nahihirapan sila kasi, well, one thing is because they are going against Garena.
Wow, look what BKT is doing on the minimap. Elite and LeBlanc are putting wards all over that area, and try to see the blue buff here. Here, the blue buff has been taken by
nice
G4 here.
So for ngayon, wala pang blue ang team of BKT. Successfully managed to steal that 2 for team of IPT, mga kaibigan. Warlock taking a lot of damage. Heals not enough to save one champion dito. It's meron siyang ignite, but wow, nice flash out from Garena. Here comes the sentence. Oops, didn't connect. IPT Shadow. Here comes the dark binding, mga kaibigan. And Shadow's about to go down. But I think enough yung kanyang item dito, like yung Doran shield, to survive or to sustain the bottom lane against Lucian and Garena.
Yes, alright, so it looks like a nice large minion wave is being picked up by IPT Fear right now. IPT Light and of course LeBlanc are both level 7 at the moment. Of course, LeBlanc has the blue buff steal over Eden here, and Elise will pick up her own blue buff as well.
That Ethereal chain, if only that Ethereal chain connects to Light, be sure that that could dish out so much damage against him. But since nag-miss ito, he can still sustain the mid dito. At napakalaking tulong for G4 yung paghawak niya ng blue buff for instead for Light sana.
Alright, so back in the mid lane again, IPT Light is very careful here as you see G4 with that blue buff is able to spam her skills very consistently here, applying a lot of pressure onto IPT Light here. So with that pressure coming on, is giving G4 an advantage in CS here. So again, every lane right now on BKT side is winning in terms of CS except for the bottom lane, which of course Fear is doing a really good job of picking up those CS with those additional access.
Yes, like what I mentioned earlier. Mahirapan talaga si Jax na manalo against the kill dito. Check. But here comes Kaigo, mga kaibigan, from the backline. After his red buff, they have to use that wild group disengage dito. Flashing from Kaigo. With that E, he managed to get the first touch of the game. And somehow they're trying to get the life of Warlock in the bottom lane, mga kaibigan. Warlock goes down. IPT Fear got the life of one champion dito. A teleport from Hero trying to catch up against dito kay Lloyd. The flash in from Shadow. Not enough para maabot yung kanyang plate dito. It was in favor of team ng IPT getting 2 champion kill in the early part of the game, though they burned that teleport from Jax dito, and they're trying to get the first dragon of the game. First blood for Kaigo kanina. Very impressive playstyle from team of IPT.
G4 is doing a really good job here, avoiding those spears coming from Light. Light again taking a lot of harass from IPT Light here. Has to be really careful on how G4 lands those kill shots, or those shots rather. One more hit for that ward though, unable, Thresh wasn't able to kill that ward until now there, so the Twin ward will give them victory there. Hero struggling still with BKT Sek in the top lane here. Sek just poking down Hero here, and that glitter lance, half the HP of those minions in one glitter lance is really powerful glitter lance at this point in the game.
With 2 Dorans played in a Fiendish Codex, I'm pretty sure that he can surely survive the top lane dito and clear the minion like the usual. Pero kanina naging sobrang confident siya in the top lane dito. And that gave Kill or Kaigo the advantage of killing him. Sobrang extended siya in the top lane. Though hindi nagkaroon ng assist si Hero doon. Still first blood for Kaigo. And that earned him yung kanyang Regal's Lantern.
Yes. Alright, looks like the pink ward will finally be spotted by Shadow there. I believe he will pick up that pink ward or remove from the map. And a ward being placed down again by BKT Warlock there, and Shadow and Fear will be joining the rest of their team in the Dragon Pit area. Warlock and Lloyd are aware of this, of course. Hero trying to pressure Sek here. Sek,
wow, they're aware na nasa top lane series dito, so they have to take the advantage here.
Nice, coming
getting the first Dragon of the game for team of IPT. Very good job. Without that smite from Kaigo dito, successfully got the first dragon of the game. In 12-minute mark, Team IPT got the dragon against team ng BKT. This is very interesting for team of IPT. They are at this point of time they're winning the game or winning the laning phase against team of BKT. Though kita natin ngayon na hindi pa rin nakakabawi itong si Jax or si Hero.
Yes, and Elise and LeBlanc finally picking up the third. They're now about to steal the blue buff once again as you see a spear landing on the G4.
Very risky for team of BKT, mga kaibigan. Kaigo initiating the team fight dito. Here comes the intervention. A flash in from Hero dito using the teleport. I mean, using the counter strike. He managed to get the life of Kaigo. No champion from team BKT ay namamatay pa dito. But they successfully.
Nice!
Wow! 2 champion, mga kaibigan. IPT Light with the essence coming from IPT Fear as well dito. Warlock, he was exhausted, mga kaibigan. But ignited si Warlock dito. Shadow, one more hit, mga kaibigan, for BKT Warlock dito. And yes, with that play, managed to end up the life of BKT Warlock with a double kill for Lucian. So in total, it's a 3-for-3 exchange.
Yes, a lot of action happening simultaneously all across the map there. Of course, Jax and Lulu do survive that fight, and they resume the top lane farming here. And as you can see, your Hero low on mana. Both same with Sek here, but has a huge minion advantage again. Will be pushing those minions against on the tower of Hero here. Hero trying to pick up as much CS as he can under the tower here. Sek brings Hero down to the quarter of his HP at the moment. Very dangerous position for him right now. And the tower in the top lane finally goes down to BKT Sek.
Blue team's turret has been
Still
destroyed.
good job for team of IPT defending the blue buff for Light dito. And so far ngayon, I think nakuha na ni Light ang kanyang first blue buff of the game. Yes. So far meron na siyang makakabawi na siya dito against G4 the mid lane, sustaining the mid lane with that blue buff. 14-minute mark. Ang ating score ay 5-4. We got the first dragon of the game. Also a trade kanina na T3. And take note, mga kaibigan, with that trade, Ang ating score ngayon ay 5-4. So yung goal difference natin lamang pa rin ang team ng BKT mga kaibigan. Here comes the intervention from Kaiko dito trying to save the life of IPT Light. Hooker form. Sobrang bilis itong si Nidalee talaga. You can't chase down a Nidalee in the jungle kasi nga meron siyang passive skill na magbibigay sa kanya ng movement speed every time na naglalakad siya sa bush dito. So with this 800 gold difference in favor of team ng BKT, I think medyo nakakabawi ngayon ang team ng BKT dito mga kaibigan. Warlock din naman ang reckoning from Kaiko dito. Ang flashing from IPT Fear, but that red buff from IPT Kaiko dito managed to secure a kill bottom lane. So for that gave them enough advantage dito at so far nakakahabol sila sa ating gold difference. Around 500 gold difference na lamang ngayon in favor pa na sa team ng BKT.
Alright, so Shadow picking up, clearing out another ward in the tri-bush area as you can see here, and Sek will be placing a protective ward in entering the top lane here, making sure that if any movement coming from the jungle, Kaiko will get spotted if he passes there.
Aurelio Nomicon for Lulu in the top lane. So once again, ito na naman ang bibigay ng disadvantage kay IPT Hero. He have to use counter-strike. In take note, I think Aurelio Nomicon can increase the heal amount of both Nidalee and Kale's heal dito since meron siya grievous wounds.
Yes, and including the lifesteal of Jax and Draven here. So basically, it's a good pickup. Like you said, Lulu is a utility champion, and picking up that item is definitely a nice utility item for Lulu. Gives her enough ability power and cooldown reduction, allowing her to spam spells and reduce the H or the the healing skills of IPT.
Parang ang daming daming support ng Team BKT dito. They have Lulu, they have Garena, and hindi lang sila talagang support. There's Amy, AP Cares, mga kaibigan, IPT Fear, and IPT Shadow in the bottom lane against Warlock. Dito, kinuha niya ang kanyang lantern. He was exhausted, and he goes down. An ignite from IPT Shadow, he have to use that play. G4 use that distortion. Tumama ang kukul, mga kaibigan, from 007X dito. And with that, Kaiko is forced to use his intervention. In the bottom lane.
Yeah. That was actually a very good intervention of denying a lot of that damage coming from Lucian and LeBlanc as well.
Nating damage ang G4 mga kaibigan. Take note, wala nang distortion sa G4 dito. So one more hit from any champion of Team IPT will surely go down. But here goes the teleport mga kaibigan from IPT Hero from the backline. Without his cocoon, I don't think he can disengage dito against the champion of Team IPT, and he goes down.
Yes, alright. Lloyd will be spotting out a pink ward here behind the dragon pit of IPT rather here, and I think BKT here having a really good time here. BKT is too strong right now. Let's see if
I don't think
can
BKT second win against IPT Fear dito since he's taking a lot of damage.
There.
Wow! That wild growth is not enough to compensate sa binibigay na damage output from IPT Fear dito.
Actually, IPT Fear did use his heal there. Oh, he's spotted!
Wow!
Nice
That war from IPT Fear mga kaibigan. I think hindi siya aware na nandun si so kiting skills mga kaibigan kapag naligtas niya. Wow! Almost there. Siguro kung wala si Lloyd doon, he can surely kill BKT Warlock dito. So wow! That's fear mga kaibigan from IPT Light. Hindi niya nakita yun. So far, ito ang vision ng team of IPT, and this is the vision of team BKT. And 18-minute mark, almost 19. IPT so far ngayon, hindi pa nakagawa ng kanilang yung talagang solid objective dito. They're not getting the first tier turrets in any lane. So in terms of map control, sobrang nahihirapan sila dito, and I think this is one of the reason why ganito kalaki yung goal difference natin kahit yung score ay lamang ang team ng IPT kasi tatlong turret na napunta for BKT and no turret destroyed for team of IPT.
Yeah, G4 they're avoiding a nice spear coming in from a light here.
Here comes the counter-strike mga kaibigan. Chasing down 007X. Reckoning connected very well. Tumama ang death sentence ng Spider for 007X. And namatay yung Spider na yon for
Pag nakagat ng Spider, baka maging Spider-Man.
well,
alright, IPT Fury versus Lloyd, one-on-one here, but there's a tower. Very dangerous for him
Lloyd, taking a lot of damage. Wow, what a place from IPT Fury dito against BKT Sec. I don't think he can win here against BKT Sec since napakalaki ng kanyang HP.
And actually, I think Fury would have won that, but the thing that, like you mentioned a while ago, that Morellinicon coming from Lulu just denies Raven from healing back from all the damage he does. So really good pickup coming from Lulu there.
And I think one reason is because meron pa siyang wild growth. So there's a high possibility that he can use yung kanya. Siyempre, gagamitin niya talaga yung wild growth if ever na talagang mahirapan siya against Fear dito. With the 11-8 score, lamang na ngayon ang team ng IPT. And once na makakuha sila ng kahit isang turret lang dito, kayang-kaya nila mag-snowball sa laban na to and win against team ng BKT. So far at this point of time, Hero is trying his best to push the top lane dito alone. Since meron siyang Blade of the Ruined King, and he should have get yung kanyang item dito, the Mercury Thread. Kasi as you can see, they have team BKT have 3 champion na AP. So at least, syempre, merong Ethereal Chain, merong Dark Binding from Garena dito. With that tenacity, you have to survive the team fight here. And I think it's about time to secure the objectives of Team IPT, trying to push the bottom lane. First tier turret sa laban na to. If successfully manage to get the first tier turret dito, he can surely catch up. So now,
honestly, I'm not so sure what Shadow is doing here. Fear is all alone there in the bottom lane, and he's really trying to pick up the tower here.
BKT Warlock mga kaibigan, ginamit ang kanyang bind, trying to kill G4 before dying dito with that distortion and mimic as well. Fear goes down. Hero chasing down BKT Sec dito mga kaibigan, since meron siyang Blade of the Ruined King and yung kanyang Mercury Threads. Kayang-kaya na niya sabayan si Lulu dito. Here comes the food mga kaibigan, connected to Kaigu. Trying to chase the champion, ginamit ang kanyang intervention. Nga ba kanyang boy dito? Wow, that Dark Passage, I thought nawala na siya. So,
yeah, the Dark Passage really has a long time before it expires there.
So, just in time mga kaibigan, never back down. Pero as you can see, almost, yes, kalahati ng CS ni Kaigo ay yung CS ni dito. With that healing capability.
Nice spear coming from Light. They're reducing G4's life to very low. Right now, this might give them an opportunity to push the mid lane here. We have 3 members from IPT here. Although that Ace the tower is still at full HP, so it's gonna take a lot of damage from IPT side. Let's see if they have enough damage before the rest of the BKT get there. Lloyd will be spamming.
Here comes Sokun mga kaibigan, trying to kill Shadow dito. Spider form for 007X. The Yampi is at the repel. Yes, here comes the intervention from IPT Kaigu. A jump into Kaigu and he goes down. A trade in the mid lane dito. IPT Fear taking a lot of damage from Lucian dito with that Trinity Force and Bloodthirster. He can surely dish out so much damage sa mga laban na nangyayari kanina.
Yes, and that's the first tower of IPT here. Now that's actually gonna be very crucial, especially in the mid lane. But right now, BKT will respond if they want to get the tower in the mid lane. Very low HP. BKT Lloyd should have no problem picking it up by himself. There's 4 members now. BKT in the jungle. Looks like they want to do a Baron. Let's see if they'll be able to do the Baron. Blue buff is not there. IPT is not. Oh, they do have a ward in the Baron, so they will be aware if BKT does decide to go for that Baron. But right now, there we see IPT also picking that Baron, thinking that they may attempt this, but looks like nobody will go for it.
Light got his Rabadons, and so far against LeBlanc or G4, sobrang pantay sila dito. No, actually lamang si Light against him. And I think one reason kung bakit nakakahabol si LeBlanc dito is because syempre in terms of turret destroyed, they have the advantage niya. And no one Somehow, isang dragon pa lang yata nakukuha ngayon. And this is the second dragon of the game. If ever na makuha ito ng IPT. Snowball na naman sila kalaban nila. Mga kaibigan, IPT Kaigo taking a lot of damage. Here comes the smite from Kaigo dito. Then set from Shadow. He's taking a lot of damage. 4 champion of Team BKT is exposed sa kanya. Here comes the intervention mga kaibigan for Hero. A dark binding from Warlock as well. IPT Fear got 1 hit mga kaibigan. I mean, somehow managed to give 1 damage from team ng BKT dito, pero it's 1-5 yung ating third destroyed ngayon.
Actually, the minions coming from BKT picking up the top tower without any help here. Of course, Fear has no problem with pushing a lot of damage into the tower, quickly working out on the second middle third here.
Here comes the distortion mga kaibigan, and Mimic for IPT Fear. Tumama ang ethereal chain from G4 dito. BKT Lloyd with that first kill managed to end up the life of IPT Fear.
And Kaiku might be in a little trouble here. Dark binding landing.
Dark binding from Warlock. They're chasing down Kaiku, and Kaiku goes down.
Looks like BKT will go for this Baron. They do have the numbers advantage here.
Delikado to. Wala silang smiter since Kaiku goes down kanina. Kasi nangyari pagpitas from Warlock dito. So, with that mobility boots,
yeah, definitely nothing IPT can do about this. So tower will go to BKT in the 25-minute mark, and we'll have to see how IPT will respond to this with the BKT with a huge advantage in terms of damage with that Byron buff on them right now.
it's going to be very dangerous for team of IPT. Looking at the difference now, 1 equal difference favor of team ng BKT. Well, one reason is because they got the Baron for the next 5 minutes. Mga teamfight na mangyayari dito ay magiging in favor of team because they have 3. Actually, all of their members dito ay merong merong Baron buff. So, meron silang tawag dito damage, bonus damage, and bonus AP. Siyempre, meron pang regeneration as well. So, pretty sure that they can surely win the upcoming team fights dito. For ngayon, first tier and second tier turret for mid lane and top lane ay wala na for team of IPT. They have to decide fast enough para makapag-secure sila ng objective dito. As you can see, IPT Kaiku and IPT Hero trying their best to get the first tier in the top lane dito. So, kapag nakuha nila to, medyo makakahabol na sila. Ito lang yung goal difference nila eh. 1k na naman, and yes.
Actually, it's now even out through that last third pickup. Here, using his ultimate to clear the huge minion wave pushing in the bottom lane. There, of course, there's 3 champions here.
Meron naman pinit siya dito.
Yeah, so
wow! That spear from Nidali dito. Lampas kalahati ng buhay ni Lloyd na nawala. Looking at Kaigu's item, it's most likely going for a Runan's Hurricane. Meron na siyang Feral Flare dito. We'll see what might happen sa mga teamfight na mangyayari maya-maya lang. Lalo na kapag nakuha siya ng kanyang Runan's Hurricane.
Yeah, right now IPT doesn't have any more outer turns. I think they only have their base turns to defend right now, and you can hear Jax is trying to split push in the top lane. Of course, Elise will be there to respond and deny Jax from pushing the tower. IPT Light almost getting caught there. G4 using his burst damage to try to take out Light there. Light, of course, was able to escape that encounter there, and right now members of IPT are just really waiting for BKT to make a dangerous move or dive here. Of course, if not getting caught here,
here comes the counter strike mga bigger from Hero dito. Ginamit ang kanyang W, chasing down 007X. Ginamit na kanyang Blade of the Ruined King, chasing down 007X. Here comes the rappel, trying to disengage in the top lane dito. And yes, since he can't take that damage out from the turret, he have to disengage. Take out marami pang mana. 007X that can surely gain the advantage and get a comeback against Jax in the top lane dito. So, teleport siya ngayon to respond in the bottom lane. BKT, they're trying their best to
that was really close for Kaigu there. Kaigu going down to less than a quarter of his HP there. He went back, going back to base to heal up. BKT deciding not to push here. They split up into two groups here. As you can see here, Morgana and Lulu are moving to the mid lane, while Elise will also be going back to base. I think they're timing the dragon. I think we're gonna go back to base to pick up some items and pick up the dragon next. If I'm not mistaken, we'll have to see how BKT will play this out. I'm surprised they did not continue the pressure. I think they thought that Jax was not in the top lane anymore and decided to back away, since it might be a 5v4 here in the bottom lane, but apparently Jax is still there in the top lane right now.
Yung bilis ng attacks with Kaigo. With the Pharaoh Flare, with the Runan's Hurricane and the Nashor's Tooth. So far, ang kulang nila sa kanya ay syempre, enough aim. Meron siyang Nashor's Tooth dito. The bonus damage from his scaling AP surely give him advantage more sa mga susunod ng mga teamfight na mangyayari the later part of the game. So 30-minute mark, 12-12 score, goal difference of 500 in favor of team of BKT. So far, IPT still deciding what to do next.
Yeah, it looks like they're preparing for the dragon fight this time around, like I said, and BKT does have the time, and Lulu will continue to push there. This is very dangerous for IPT if they get caught here. Looks like they might give up the dragon 2 over to BKT. G4 using his skills, trying to catch a champion from IPT, but not connecting any of those skills yet. So IPT still thinking on what they're gonna do here. They have to be careful. Lulu is pushing the top lane.
And ito magpapahirap sa kanila. If ever na magpatuloy ito, solo Lulu. And if ever na makuha ito ng team BKT, oops! Nice drive, team of IPT. Unfortunately, not enough. And since Kaigo ay nasa base dito, medyo nagkaroon siguro siya ng konting pagkuha ng kanyang item dito. Pinalitan niya yung kanyang Berserker's Greaves ng Ionian Boots. Being more on the cooldown reduction for his champion.
Yes, another blue buff steal from BKT here, denying IPT those blue buffs. I think the third blue buff stolen by BKT in this game alone. I think IPT has only picked up one blue buff or two blue buffs so far in the game, and that will be the first and the third I think they were able to pick up. And now BKT again, like I said, with those tower advantage, they do have a huge map control right now, including that Baron buff they basically cut out guys here. Tower finally goes down. BKT have a huge advantage with this tower open now. They can definitely apply more pressure to IPT. IPT needs to make a move very soon. If they allow BKT to continue taking objectives from them, they will surely have a hard time winning this game.
Sobrang tinat na mapigilan ni BKT. Wow! Oh, here comes distortion mga kaibigan. Mimic as well from BKT G4. Almost there. Wow!
Whoa.
Sick! Managed to end the life of Shadow in the top lane dito with that Whimsy. And yung kanyang leader lands, IPT Hero chasing down the champion dito. Here comes the intervention. They have to use the counter strike mga kaibigan from BKT G4 dito. Ginamit ang kanyang distortion. And Mimic as well managed to end the life of one champion. Two champion of Team IPT goes down. And wala pang nakapatay dito ang team ng IPT. From team of BKT, they're trying their best to get the first inhibitor of the game here in the top lane. Kaya halos lahat ng buhay ng team
spear hitting
from
007.
Kaya mas kalahati na. But BKT Lloyd, nahihirapan na sila, sobrang pigilan itong si Lloyd. With that item, Trinity Edge, the Bloodthirster, yung Trinity Force.
I have to give props to BKT Warwick. They're using his Black Shield very effectively on Morgana, allowing LeBlanc to go in without anything to worry there. As you can see, walang magawang IPT whenever Morgana goes in there with that shield, protecting her from any crowd controls coming from IPT side.
Like,
Right,
walang skill ito, actually walang skill silang pwedeng gamitin for
yes, Baron is actually up right now, and I think they're gonna try to move Baron. I think they can do this. They have enough time. Let's see, BKT is coming already. If they can take it down, it will be a huge advantage for IPT now.
Ooh, distortion! I mean distortion from LeBlanc dito, but almost there.
Here comes G4 trying to burst on a member of IPT. No one goes down luckily for IPT there. As you can see, BKT are trying to apply some more pressure here. They already have the top inhibitors down, so super minions will be coming in from the top lane, giving IPT a little bit of a challenge to defend their own base. Of course, they BKT now in the mid lane with the minions coming in as well. You see a lot of magic damage and poke coming from both sides as well. And the Black Shield again on LeBlanc as we've seen so many times so far.
Here goes the counter-strike mga kaibigan from Hero dito. Nahuli si Sek. A flashing from Shadow. A miss. Death setup mga kaibigan. Here goes to the back. From Thresh dito. BKT Lloyd managed to end the life of one champion of Team IPT dito. They're getting the life of 007X. Wow! What a flash out from 007X dito. IPT Kaigo from the backline chasing down Warlock. Warlock was about to go down. Here comes the intervention. He was able to pick up a life of Team BKT dito. But no! Wow! What a playstyle of Team BKT. Almost
everybody almost one hit from dying.
Alstat sila! Tigisang ampas na lang from either Kaigo or IPT Fear dito. But oh my gosh.
Yeah, and while that was happening, the Super Minion destroyed all the Nexus turrets of IPT there. Wow, the pressure coming from BKT right now. IPT really struggling to win this game here. They have to now protect the middle inhibitor, including that open top lane right now without any
halos lahat ng flash ng Team IPT dito ay na-burn. Dito nangyari Team Garena because they were desperately trying to kill a champion, at least one champion. Sana from Team IPT. Okay, naka-advantage na makuha nila dito.
Here we see Sek picking up the blue buff for himself here. They will be coming back into the base. They want to pick up that inhibitor, as you can see here. The amount, like I mentioned a while ago, the amount of crowd control coming from BKT right now is slightly superior to what IPT has right now, and this is allowing them to win the team fight here, even though the damage is not as high as IPT's dual link.
Itong si Lucian dito. Hindi naman ang kukun mga kaibigan. Si Kaigo dito, and Kaigo goes down. IPT Hero got caught with that Dark Binding Eternal Chain as well. Here comes the Ignite with that Mercury Thread. Wala kagad yung duration ng Saber sa kanya o ng Crowd Control skills.
Spider in the base of IPT there. A Dark Binding almost hitting Light. Of course, he still has advantage spear. Being a little bit aggressive, he has to be very careful. He may get caught here.
Oh no!
Spear from Nidalee almost connecting there. Luckily, a nice sidestep coming from Warlock, avoiding certain death. Alright, BKT are satisfied with what they've done so far. They decided to recall back to base, pick up a few more items. They have a huge gold advantage now here, about 6k or about 5.5k. It's not bad at this stage of the game, especially with their map control right now. Really, honestly, they can really just push the mid lane and win this game if they want to, with their huge advantage right now in terms of towers here. 4 towers to 10 in favor of BKT, and BKT basically simply doing better, picking up better objectives so far in this game. The dragon is up right now, definitely something IPT could use about right now, but most likely they will not risk that dragon since IPT or BKT can easily end this game while they're in the dragon pit.
Chain mga kaibigan kung G4 dito. That blue buff. That elixir. Increase ang kakun mga kaibigan from 007X. So here goes the teleport from BKT Sek. So far ngayon, nahihirapan ang team ng IPT. Paano nila didiskarte yan ng ganitong klaseng pressure na binibigay sa kanila ng very interesting for Team BKT. They are giving so much pressure against IPT dito. Here goes the distortion once again, and Mimic from LeBlanc. Ooh, Kaigo. A lot of damage from that gun mga kaibigan. Sobrang pasok dito ni IPT Hero. Just in time, Kaigo used an intervention. Here comes the box. G4 was about to go down. He used that distortion and Mimic, but he used the spell immunity just in time to save a champion here. Whimsy from Sek dito. He was about to go down. A leap out from Hero. He goes down. Unfortunately for him, distortion and that Seagull of Silence. It's an ace for Team BKT and a win for their team of IPT.
Congratulations to BKT for picking up their first victory this season And IPT does unfortunately not win their first game yet, so medyo this is gonna be an uphill battle again for IPT once again this season. Really, it was really pretty much even game throughout the game. Of course, BKT had that tower advantage all throughout the game. This probably led to their victory here. IPT needs to work on picking up those objectives a little bit more better in the future games if they want to win this game.
Ang naging pinakamahirap for Team IPT dito ay yung pag-set up nilang objectives. Yes, in the early part of the game, they have the advantage here. Hanggang sa mid-game, actually, sobrang pantay sila eh. And take note, nung nakuha nila yung Dragon kagad na end yung Baron, sobrang bilis nila makahabol dito. The only thing na I think naging pinaka-problema ng Team IPT dito, syempre, yung kung paano nila masecure yung kanilang objectives dito. So you can see, 5 turrets na nakukuha ng Team of BKT dito at wala pang turret from Team IPT ang na-exchange nila. So they got the first dragon of the game yet. Very good job for their team. And they got the second dragon as well. Pero nagpahirap sa kanila ay yung kanilang map control throughout the game. IPT Hero struggled very hard to top lane against Lulu. And kapag ganun siguro dapat ang ginawa dito ng team of ginawa sana ng team IPT ay at least to camp the top lane. Since I think si Hero lang naman yata nahihirapan sa laning phase niya against Lulu kasi nga well, Jax against Lulu, we all know kung ano magiging turnout ng laban na yun in the top lane. And doon nakakabawi na si Hero once na nakuha niya yung kanyang Blade of the Ruin, nagpahirap sa kanya dito in the top lane. Ay syempre, yes, he's fat enough to go against Lulu. But Lulu, syempre, di naman siya pwedeng mapag-iwanan.
Yeah, actually good team effort all around from BKT. But I think BKT Sec probably was the key part to their victory. Denying Fear a lot of those healing from his Bloodthirster, and of course keeping him down using the Polymorph, denying IPT Fear's damage, unable to pick up kills for IPT though, and of course Jax having a really difficult time against BKT Sec there. As you can see here, IPT here 1, 2, and 3 really shut down by the entire game there, and with that, this allowed BKT to pick up the win.
And one more thing, ang maganda pa dito sa team of BKT is because they have Elise or 007X focus more sa kanya pagiging tanky champion instead of getting any other item for to at least mag-compensate sa kanyang AP build dito. And yes, congratulations Team BKT winning the first game of
their season.
The second game for tonight, and this is yung first win for this season. So again mga kaibigan, bago ang lahat, tignan muna natin ang schedule bago tayo magkaroon ng short break for our next game.
Alright, so far of course we had the Maki Esports winning their first game tonight against Saigon Fantastic 5, followed by 7 PM we had IPT versus BKT, where BKT outlasted IPT till the end of the game, picking up their first victory of the season. And next up we have HQ Fighter versus the Saigon Jokers coming up in a few minutes, and of course later on we'll have War Gods versus Neolution Full Lewis for the final match of the night.
Yes, so far 9 PM pa mga kaibigan, laban sa pagitan ng Team War Gods at Neolution Full Lewis Esports. So, we'll have to see what might happen later on. So, for ngayon, magkakaroon muna tayo ng short minute break. And after ng ating break dito, laban sa pagitan ng Team HQ Fighters, ba? Tama?
That's right.
Versus Saigon Jokers. Yan, thank you very much. Again, you're watching the Garena Premier League 2014 summer season. I am GG Sphere.
I'm Jay.
Thank you very much for watching. Congratulations Team BKT for winning the game.